grace. May I be free forever. We are recording from the ashram of our revered Guru, Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda in Miami, Florida. Today is March the 2nd, 2021, Tuesday evening, and tonight Swamiji will be lecturing on the Yoga Vasistha. This is series 2018, class number 318. And now Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda.
Om Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyaadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adoration to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha, Nirvana Prakarana Purvardha, Section 57, the vision that ends all vasanas. Vasanas are your subtle desires. Always remember the three stages, mala, vikshepa and avarana. Mala relates to gross impurities. Impurity is that you see but don't care. And talk about impurities of others, and becomes a source of constant news breaking. And that impurity, mala, goes on playing its role in the world, gives delicacy in human affairs. Otherwise there is nothing to say. Nobody fights. Nobody creates havoc. All the news media will become calm. So it's mala. Vikshepa is your focus of your sadhana. Vikshepa holds, vikshepa means vasanas, subtle impressions, subtle desires that operate through your subconscious, and call it unconscious. All the troubles that people face in day-to-day life, the source lies in the subconscious. Therefore, cure is not simple cure. You have to have a repeated effort and a subtle effort to bring about purification of the vasanas. And when we talk about impure vasana and pure vasana, impure vasana is called klishta vasanas. Klishta. You turn to your ishta in order to be free of klishta. Ishta is your deity that you have chosen to meditate on or be a devotee of. Klishta implies 5 kleshas: ignorance, egoism, attachment, hatred, fear of death. These are symptoms of mortality. And these symptoms have to be overcome in order to be healthy. True swastha is to be rooted in the awareness, I am Brahman. Then you are really healthy. Otherwise you are caught by mortality virus. And mortality virus has these 5 whiskers. Ignorance, egoism, attachment, hatred. In practical world, all these 5 are blended in your practical reality. But your solution is not to change the practical world. Practical world will change as your attitudes change. But your focus is on how to bring change in your vasanas, how to free your vasanas of the impact of ignorance. You are constantly emphasizing. When there is a need to understand, satsanga invites you. You say, oh no, it's a wonderful tea has come. Or a very pleasant drink. And a good party has come. So next day, but not. I'm joking. So when you have that type of attitude, you are encouraging being ignorant. You are emphasizing ignorance in an unwitting way. Similarly, egoism. You see, when you go to deep sleep, you are how quiet you are, how relaxed. And when you wake up after deep sleep, there are some moments of just quietness until ego is spider jumps into the seat with a website. Immediately become aware of past, present, future, and all the dreams that you have. So, day by day you experience the role of ego and being egoless. And yet, it is an ego-based reality that everyone is satisfied with, or everyone is overcome by it, ego-based. And go on emphasizing ego-based aspirations. When will I be prosperous? When will I win a lottery? When I will have this? When will I have that? From practical point, you always realize practical realities are never being neglected. You must be skilled in handling your practical realities. But at the same time, your focus is in bringing about purification of vasanas. So I have talked about ignorance, you have talked about egoism. Led by egoism, you develop another illusion of same world is there. That you look at the world without attachment and hatred, and it looks so vast, so inspiring. But once attachment enters, oh, this world is perspiring. Where is my dear one? Your mind turns to what you consider near and dear ones. That also is an abstract term. And what is near and dear one in the morning, by the evening, your deer has wandered away in a forest. So you don't know who is dear, who is near. So your raga movement, but at the same time, you go on taking pictures of all cute moments. And those pictures are collected in the treasury of your heart. So that way you are making the vasanas, klishta vasana, developing impressions of attachment and hatred. Attachment and hatred. And your embodiment is caused by karma. And karma is a result of raga and dvesha. If you have attachment and hatred, your world is going to be defined by illusion. And that illusional process is karma. And karma-based life means you are always aware of mortality and be afraid all through your life. Whenever there is any serious damage to your body or to any type of illness, sickness, or you become aware of death and begin to count your days and allow your mind to go through a lot of fear. All that again is, from practical point of view, is real. But your entire personality should not be constantly under the impact of the fear of death. But in brief, ignorance, egoism, attachment, hatred, fear of death, these subtle impressions go on gathering in your mind. And your vasanas become more and more envenomed, not pure vasana. And the soul is being led to experience cycle of birth and death. And in every embodiment, all your experiences are colored by vasanas. So with that, as we proceed, we'll go into deeper insight. Bhagavan Krishna, here you must realize the context is Sage Vasistha is presenting essence of wisdom of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, as if he is forecasting how Lord Vishnu incarnating as Lord Krishna will give this teaching in Gita. So his storyline gives you always another type of dimension for your mind to imagine how great were that sage He knew past, present, and future. But that's a different aspect. So the wisdom of the Gita is being presented to you in summary. And wisdom of the Gita is same as wisdom of Yoga Vasistha. Wisdom is wisdom. It is not of variable types. Satyameva jayate, wisdom is truth. Truth. And truth is not variable, it is just one and the same. Bhagavan Krishna continued, O Arjuna, it is a great wonder that the world arises without any support. Support means without any real basis. Example, snake on the rope. You come in a semi-darkness and suddenly you push back, so much so injure your knees, bag your head. Why? There is a snake there. Raise the wood. Later with light, you realize it was just a rope placed in such a way that one side was little up. So your snake had no basis, and you are being frightened and banging yourself is without any real reasoning. So that's the way the entire world process is. And wisdom lies in coming to that level of wisdom, that level of understanding that the entire world and all its experiences are not the reality. It's like a long dream. The planes of existence, the living beings that inhabit them, and the cosmic being that enfolds all within its expansion. All these are the result of vasanas, or subtle desires existing in the mind. The entire world process, which has two aspects, led by ignorance, you are moving from darkness to greater darkness. Led by knowledge, you are moving from darkness to light. Both of your movements are based on vrittis of the mind, thought waves of your mind. For easy understanding, think of a cinema show. All that you are watching in the show is based upon projections cast upon the screen. The screen is pure awareness. That's where you are essentially. Absolute self, Brahman. But you are now trapped by whatever expresses in the realm of projection. This is also called bhava pratyaya. All your experiences in the realm of bondage to release comes under bhava pratyaya, because you are involved with projection of the chitta. All that you are experiencing watching the show of gain and loss, of past, present and future, all is defined by projections. And all that is not real. The real is behind the projections. Screen, just Brahman, the awareness, absolute. In the same way, all that you are experiencing through your chitta vrittis, they go to constitute this vast universe. The planes of existence, the three lokas, they are in the realm of projections. The living beings that inhabit them, and the cosmic being that unfolds. All within its expansion. All these are the result of vasanas. The vasana is the basis behind projections. Just like film negatives are the basis behind what is being projected on the screen. I'm using old illustration. Vasanas, when Krishna vasanas are removed by Shishta vasana, pure vasana. Pure vasana brings the revelation of the screen more and more. Impure vasana hides the screen. So when you have pure vasana and the screen begins to come forward, that's the movement that has two fingers, pravritti and nivritti. You can go backed up by inspiration from what is behind the show, coming from the deepest source, Brahman. When you begin to realize the world is an appearance, you have the now possibility to change your self-effort either for bhoga or for moksha. Bhoga is a dull stage, because bhoga means enjoyment, and I will not go into details. The real wisdom lies in switching your attention to moksha, liberation. And liberation is a revelation of the truths. So all that you hear about the universe, even the role of Virat, cosmic form, all that is in the realm of bhava pratyaya, in the realm of projections. Lifting this whole veil is called pratyaya bhava. If all these pratyaya projections drop away, then what is there is absolute Brahman. This vast world process is founded on illusion. It's called Maya. Maya Shakti of Brahman. That becomes Vidya and Avidya. Avidya that leads to bondage. Vidya that leads to liberation. All that is painted on the sheet of pure consciousness is of the nature of the self. All that is painted means all that is projected. It is Brahman that has proceeded from Brahman. So all this that you see in the cinema show, where they have come from? They have come from your screen. All the while you are watching, what is really true, you are watching the screen. And when you have finished, what stays? Screen. Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate. That's what it implies. It is Brahman that enjoys Brahman. It is Brahman that has projected itself in the form of Brahman. Therefore, the sense of egoism is sustained by vanity alone. Vanity means empty illusion. This world process exists as a reflection in the placid waters of Brahman. Different way, allegorically, it is being described. It is sustained by the illusory threads of subtle desires. When the vasanas are eradicated by the force of knowledge, this world turns into Brahman. All this is Brahman. In the absence of this knowledge, it is difficult to eradicate the vasanas. If you don't have this knowledge, all this is Brahman, your vasanas cannot be eradicated. The eradication of vasana implies vasana kshaya. Vasana kshaya is possible only by intuitive revelation. I am Brahman. As vasanas get purified, the revelation becomes closer and closer to you. And as the revelation becomes closer, the process of destroying the vasana becomes accelerated more and more. It's kind of a both-aspected movement. Ends up with dagdha bij avastha of vasanas. Vasanas become burnt up. Just as a lion is trapped in a cage, in the same way, the self is trapped in the cage of vasanas. You are Brahman, the Absolute. Now, trapped by vasanas, you are a jiva, soul. Soul that is going after so many reflections of Brahman, illuminations of Brahman. Brahman is like the sun. Instead of going after the sun, you're going after illuminations. And these illuminations come and go, and you are constantly shocked when they go away. You are surprised when they come in. You are working like a rabbit. You are really a lion, but now you have become a little rabbit. You are not ordinary lion, you are Brahman, the Absolute. and your predicament has become so humiliating, led by klishta vasanas. So, the real success in your life lies in changing those vasanas, not ordinary change, bringing transformation from klishta vasana to shishta vasana. With the rising of knowledge, the vasanas are realized to be illusory, without any real basis. The self is ever free. Even a minute form of vasana existing in the heart becomes the seed for the mighty world process. This is a mathematical evaluation of vasana. If you reduce the vasanas and think of just having a drop, that drop is sufficient to bring about a whole cloud of vasanas. You have simple illustrations. Even if you have just one little seed, out of that seed comes the tree. And one tree can become the basis of a whole forest. If you want more clearer illustration, ask the coronavirus. One person got it. And then from that, it became spread. And countless persons. And the whole lockdown became possible. So, there is no reconciliation with vasanas. Dushta vasanas must completely be terminated. If they are terminated, then is absolute awareness, aham brahma. But if you are trapped by vasana, then your enlightenment is in a shaky stage. Now at this stage, let me just remind you of details about vasanas. Klishta vasanas exist in 5 stages. Prasupta, dormant. In children, the vasanas are dormant. Therefore, you look at them and see how cute they are. And you become inspired. There's nothing more inspiring. Children become your guru. But don't be fooled. They are going to grow up like yourselves. I'm joking. So that's prasupta stage. Tanu stage, those who have gone into spiritual practices and adopted austerity and different disciplines of yoga, These klishta vasanas, they become attenuated. They become thinned out. Among the 5 types of klishta vasana, ignorance, egoism, attachment, hatred, fear of death, 2 of them are the highlights, raga and dvesha. So if you are cutting down raga and dvesha, you are impacting upon all the 5 automatically. So when these raga and dvesha, they become attenuated, not so dominating for your mind, but they become like soft breeze. Or a better illustration is a poisonous snake. You place the snake in a refrigerator. It becomes a harmless rope-like. You can wear as a garland. But how long? Once you start giving a little hot milk, warm milk, a snake will be the furious snake. So attenuating your negative traits, anger, hate, greed, that's a great thing. But don't be satisfied just by reducing them. When you reduce them, you should also go on developing Godward movement, surrender to God, love of God, your movement towards samadhi experience. If this movement does not start and doesn't grow more and more, you are not secure with reducing the vasanas, klishta vasanas. The reduction will be just a transient development. You will get back sometimes even worse than before. So that's called tanu avastha. Vichinna state of vasana is called overpowered state. You allow both vasanas to stay like brothers and sisters. You have suddenly invited people to a party, and you don't have time enough to clean up your hall, so put the dust under the rug, and all the people come, and they test positive. They test positive. Using the modern simile. Not all of them. But this type of hiding the impurity, that's called vichinna state. And all those who appear to be very cultured, good human beings, they possess this vichinna state. A vichinna state is a positive state, but don't stay in it. You have put this under the rug, but now you have to throw it out of that, out from the under. Next type of vasana is called udara. Udara means literally means magnanimous. When anger expresses fully, then all your teeth show up. Even tongue spills out. Eyes begin to stretch, brows change their feature. So entire face, nothing hides. But at the same time, in Udara state, there is a big vanity. You tell a person, don't you know anger is bad for you? You say I'm angry. And looks like a ferocious lion at him. The person says, no, no, no. You are the very gracious person. So these are the variations of states of Klishta Vasana. The ideal is Dagdha Bij. To understand all these vasanas are backed up by ignorance. Ignorance is the mother of all the vasanas. That ignorance rooted out by illumination, enlightenment. Bhava pratyaya removed by pratyaya bhava. The snake on the rope is removed by the realization of the rope. That revelation is again allegorically described as burnt up. Just like darkness creates so many illusions in the night, so many devils, so many vampires dance in the night. Enormous. Sun rises, they all burn up. You may say, where are the ashes? This is allegorical. There are no ashes. But if you are in kindergarten stage, you need ashes. So understand the ashes come. They are the sacred material for worshipping Shiva. So Shiva's ashes point to that state of Dagdha Bij Avastha. In enlightened sage, the vasanas come to that state. But try to also understand, when we say enlightened state, it's not one step, progressive. Gradually you move towards enlightenment and become fully rooted in it. The subtle secret behind spiritual progress lies in Abhyasa and Vairagya. Continue your repeated effort to sustain your integral yoga practice. Be rhythmical, be harmonious, adopt moderation, but repeated day by day, day by day. And while Vairagya, Abhyasa goes on, internal detachment. Mind should not be always swayed by the word. Move the mind away. Even when mind is dealing with objects, develop an attitude that you are in contact with God in spite of the names and forms that go on changing before you. Vairagya is growing detachment from the world. So by the exercise of abhyasa and vairagya, wisdom settles deep into one's heart. This burns up all the vasanas and renders them ineffective for the germination of the forest of the world process. So even in your lifetime, once you have developed enlightenment, your vasanas are described as burnt up state. And from practical point of view, your personality, like anyone's personality, follows all practical realities. It follows the reality of common sense, reality of super sense, reality of grace. Like anybody else, a sage lives also similar life. But only difference is a vast difference. And that difference is his karmas have terminated. This is prarabdha karma. The last stage, that little group of karma that gave his body will continue to stay with his body. Once his body moves away, that bunch of karma will be completely destroyed. In the case of one who is not enlightened, you are constantly exhausting prarabdha. Along with it, you are creating new karmas. Remember always, sanchita, prarabdha, and agami karmas, accumulated storehouse of karma. That's sanchit karma. Out of that comes prarabdha, the group of karma that has given you this embodiment. And when you go on experiencing the result of karma, you are also creating new karmas. New karmas are called agami, that will determine your future, how your future going to be. All this movement stops in a stage. His final prarabdha is over and he is no longer going to be embodied. The mind of a sage, containing the burnt up seeds of vasanas, becomes like a lotus in the midst of water. That state of mind is that has Dagdha Bija Avastha. It is described as lotus. The entire world stays on the lotus like dewdrops, including your Jiva Bhavana. I am the individual soul. And any moment, the dewdrop slips from the leaf of the lotus and becomes blended with the infinite ocean of pure consciousness. That's called nirvana, Brahma nirvana. And with this we conclude for today. Om. Om. Ram, 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 Ram. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om. Prayer for shower of Karunamaya Ras grace of God over all of you, with the blessings of Shakti, Bhakti and Mukti. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukuva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshyama Mritat. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchid Dukhabhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Hari Om Tat Sat.
Swamiji, at question answer time, someone has sent us a question who's not here, would like you to answer it. They say, I wake up beaten and tired, stuck with fears and desires that drain me and sink me into the world. Is there a morning practice or mantra I can chant to help me truly remember?
There are two types of waking up, you see. Continue your normal waking up with patience, but start living your daily life with spiritual sadhana. Figure out sadhana, plan a way of practicing spiritual disciplines in a rhythmic way, not too much, not too little, but daily. Serve, love, meditate, choose different types of practices, mantra japa, a time to relax, a time to yoga exercises, a time to walk, a time to run. And make a rhythmic balance day by day. If you are doing it, you are waking up to your deeper reality. And once you wake up, that will be a different awakening. If you don't do that, this is normal. You always wake up to face problems of the world. Yes.
I know that person's saying thank you, Swamiji. Are there any more questions? Sri Ram.
Pranam Gurudev. Gurudev, you talked about even a smidgen or small amount of vasanas will explode into universe or cloud. So, and without vasana kshaya, there is no liberation. So it is without, so as long as there's vasanas, there is no liberation.
Liberation is as long as vasanas become purified. Vasanas are like clouds. Clouds that obstruct the sun. Then the sun is not seen. But the same clouds, when they thin out their moisture and become little silvery and allows a little sun to pass through. If this passing through of the sun is secure, then that's called Jivan Mukti. Now the vasanas are playing a different role. People looking at the sun is adoring the sun because the clouds are giving more color to the sun. Same clouds that become now rosy, golden, silvery. So that those vasanas can stay because they will not stay long. And once that state has come, you are a Jivan Mukta. You don't wait until the silvery clouds move away. Who cares? Is the sun being glorified?
So, Gurudev, then the Shubha Vasanas or the Shishta Vasanas, they are, in other words, there's a stage between Klishta first, then Shishta before Vasanakshaya?
Vasanakshaya turned them into Shishta Vasanas. The Shishta Vasanas are in Dagdha Bija state. They are not going to collect moisture.
Swamiji, I have one more question. In Hanuman Chalisa it says that Sarva Devata Chittana Dharai Hanumatasei Sarvasukha Karai. Is that, what is the mystical meaning of that?
Mystical meaning is to understand that all devatas you worship, the reality behind all devatas is Brahman. So, when you practice Ishta Mantra, your mind is drawn to one aspect of Brahman. But in that aspect, your mind must see all other aspects are included. If you are worshipping sun god in a jar of water, understand that even those sun gods that are in so many jars of water, countless suns, they are all being adored. Even though you are just worshipping your sun. So that type of, your sun is your the Mahabir, Hanuman, or can be Ram, can be Krishna. And the statement will come, only worship that, only worship Rama, all else will be adherent. But when you come to Krishna, only Krishna. When you come to Devi, only Devi. Saraswati Devi, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, they all adore her. So we have to understand all this.
Thank you, Gurudev.
Okay, and we conclude for tonight. Remember, all our classes now are 7:30, even Sunday Gita, 7:30 to 8:30.
Om Shri Satguru Maharaj Ki Jai. Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you, Gurudev.
Thank you.